just grabbed the headlines is Bruce Arena was on Fox's pre-match and post-match coverage, in which he said, as Stuart Holden says here, that he thinks that Brooks and Miazga would have been his first choice pairing at the World Cup. Jeff Cameron, who of course is a US centre-back who didn't play in those two last matches, responding on Twitter saying, good thing real coaches don't listen to studio.
Hey!
Congrats on your debut.
Oh, a bit touchy.
Hey!
Are we seeing a bit of the thin-skinned brigade again popping out, you know?
He's technically not wrong. Bruce is saying Miazga and John Brooks would have been his pairing. Miazga played 27 minutes in the Hex. You can't tell me a player played 27 minutes in the Hex, you had him all along, is going to be your starter in the World Cup if you potentially made it. I don't buy it.
Never mind what Bruce Arena said or didn't say. What is he doing on television right now?
That is extremely
Honestly,
tone deaf.
The lack of self-awareness is incredible here. It's incredible that after you fail in the manner in which the United States men's national team fail, that the coach, for that failure, the man at the front who is making the decisions, who's leading that group, is somehow allowed to come on television and talk about the team which he failed on. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
How can you get a manager in who's just literally failed in one of the most abysmal qualifications in the history of US soccer to analyse a game, as Ali said? I mean, it's crazy. But even from his point of view, he should have said no. I mean, he's made himself look stupid enough, right? He's made Jurgen Klinsmann look like Pep Guardiola, by the way, during his time in charge. Now he goes on TV and makes it worth by making stupid comments. I mean, there's no end to this. No, there is no end to this stupidity.
Honestly, so, okay, Fox comes to you and says, okay, you want to come and do this. If that's the case, if you're Bruce Arena and you have self-awareness and you understand the magnitude of the failure, you say, you know what, maybe right now it's not the time. Let me go back into my dark room where I was before and where I should have stayed rather than show up on television and talk about the U.S. national team. Come on, man. This is ridiculous.
Made a good point when I walked in the studio before we started doing the show, and he said, that's a bit like getting Italian television to ask Venturi to come on and analyse a game. The guy had to get a police escort back to his house.
Where is he right now? He had a police escort to go home. Exactly.
They get the guy, and I'm not condoning it, but he had to get a police escort back to his house. In the US, they're getting the bloody coach in the TV studio.
It's a difference. There's a difference right there and there. There's a difference in what and how things are carried out around the world and how they're carried out here in this country.
He said during the broadcast, no excuses. He did also say, though, CONCACAF is getting harder and it is difficult to qualify.
Well, it's harder if you've got a bunch of daubers and a coach who doesn't know what he's doing at that level. No, let's not make excuses. Let's go back to the point here, right? One game, 1 point. That's all they needed against Trinidad and Tobago.
They're B team.
The B.
You obviously
you
followed his comments a lot more. What else stood out for you, Herb?
Well, he's saying that this isn't a broken system and that the players don't fall through the cracks, which I felt was incredibly insensitive to a lot of players who have fallen through those cracks. Saying a country as big as the United States, you're not going to be able to find all the players all the time, but to say that they don't fall through the cracks and the best players rise and they end up playing in a system where it's pay to play, I thought it was incredibly tone deaf, incredibly insensitive.
I think in amongst a lot of the quotes there was some also pitched out there again about the European-based players and like the whole thing is just a big bag of excuses. That's all it is.
However, some good news maybe for the US, as ESPN sources are suggesting that they are seriously looking in to a tournament.
And that's good.
Pre-World Cup or a series of friendlies for those teams who didn't qualify. So we're looking at USA, Italy, you've got the Dutch, you've got Ghana, Chile.
Right, Malta, North Ireland now, Gibraltar. Why not Venezuela?
Hey, there it is.
You can make this up.
There it is. Scotland should come.
No, I dropped that low. You're not at the World Cup. You're not at the World Cup. Suck it in and accept it. This we need to do other tournaments and let's invite people to come because everybody will be interested in that. I mean, come on.
Well, it's what Ali was referring to. The culture. Man. Anywhere else, this would people would be throwing tomatoes at you if you said such a comment.
Here's the other thing. By the way, when you put yourself, and you're the U.S., and you put yourself in the same breath as Italy in terms of what this World Cup failure means, you're crazy. You're out of control. You don't belong in that category. Here's the problem. There's World Cup winners, and then there's you. So Italy, World Cup winners, U.S., not World Cup winners. So the failure for Italy is at a different level entirely. The U.S. need to sort themselves out instead of trying to figure out tournaments prior to the World Cup.
Can you imagine the phone call?
Huh?
Can you imagine the phone call to Italy?
Yeah, to the Italian Federation.
Listen, I know you're a bit disappointed you haven't got to the World Cup, but would you like to come and play in a pre-season World Cup pre-season tournament for losers? I don't know what get stuffed is in Italian, but that would be the answer.
What was that?
Get stuffed.
Kansas City's nice
All
this
the
time
players
of
are
year.
like that. Do you want to go to the US and play? No, I want to go to the US. I want to go to California and lie on the beach. I want to go and play in some Bobbins tournament for the teams that never got there. Are we painting a picture?